Welcome back. There's no worming out of it with school holidays on our doorstep. I think literally children are set to embrace outdoor adventures, hopefully, because that's what being a kid is all about. And parents, on the other hand, we must continue to remain vigilant against unwelcome guests ready to spoil the fun. And this morning, we are going to be plunging headfirst into holiday parasites. Yep, it's a fun one with Dr. Anissa Barhead, who brings a wealth of knowledge and expertise and a surprising amount of excitement with us to this discussion.
I like
topic.
that.
Yeah.
Early morning topic. lovely to have you. But look, first and foremost, I know that my boys are super excited for the holidays to kick off, because basically I said to them yesterday, I said, listen, there's 2 days left. He's like, no, there's no days left because I have a class party today, and then Friday we just go to collect reports and then we come home. So it's here, it's honest, but it's time for the kids to get out there and play and just enjoy the holiday to the most, but we want to make sure that they are healthy. And we are talking about, worm infections this morning. So I think let's demystify it a little bit first and foremost. The symptoms and signs that parents should be able to look out for, because I don't think it's something that you can just say like, yep, you've got it.
Doesn't jump off the page, yeah.
So generally, most of the cases are actually quite asymptomatic. So we'll actually find the child all of a sudden just vomits out a worm, and then you're like, whoop, there's the worms.
My child's...
So it'll just be completely coincidental. But we start kind of suspecting if there's worms, if they've got those vague abdominal pains, funny bowel habits, maybe a bit of diarrhea, a bit of constipation. Sometimes there's a change in eating habits, so you might be losing your appetite, not gaining weight. And if you start picking up an anemia that you don't really know, especially iron deficiency anemia, that's one of our big things to say, go look for those.
How do you see that?
How does that manifest? Yeah,
so iron deficiency anemia is you start going much more paler, definitely paler than me, and you start getting an increasing amount of fatigue, you start not eating well, but also later on you actually stop growing, and you actually start starting to get a bit of heart troubles from that.
Wow. Okay, so there are serious implications, and this, I suppose, that's the reason why there is so much content out there pertaining to this. A lot of it is clickbait, because it's easy to sensationalize this kind of medical discussion. How do we distinguish between the truths and the very much untruths that are floating about?
So there's a lot of doctor Googling, there's a lot of misinformation, and this is where we struggle with a lot of that information that's going out. So I'm always looking at journal articles to say whether it's peer-reviewed. So you can go on to Google and it'll randomly say you're getting worms from here, you're getting worms from there.
Might just be a commercial.
It might be a commercial thing, and it
sure.
might be this Oma from this auntie that said this and this. So I'm always kind of saying, you know what, if there's an article, look at where it was actually published on which website. And if you're not sure, go to your doctor and say, listen, is this true? Is this not true? Is this remedy going to help it or not?
100%. That's why you've got it.
Yeah, exactly. Dr. Google. It's one of the biggest. Stay away. The kids are going to be playing outside. You know, they're going to have fun, hopefully. That is what I would love to see for my kids. But how exactly are worm infections contracted? How does it happen?
So there's two big ways. Number one, if you're running around with no shoes on and you're going into contaminated soils or contaminated playgrounds, you can actually absorb those worms from the skin.
Really?
So that's one of the big ones that, especially when you're going hiking, this is why we're always saying, kids, put your shoes on when you're running outside. But obviously we want them to go and have fun.
Yeah.
Then the second big thing is that if you're ingesting it. So say these kids are playing in the playground, they've got dirty hands, they're touching pets that's got eggs on them, and then they forget to wash their hands and then they ingest those eggs. Or eating from contaminated food or water. So that's the big kind of
And I would imagine, especially if you've got pets in the house in a confined space, I speak from personal experience with 4 small pets and 2 small kids in quite a small space.
Yeah.
Because the symptoms aren't kind of screaming at us, this says to me that we need to be kind of systematic about how we protect and defend against these. So what does that look like? How do we deal with worms if we've established that, yes, there is an infection, and how do we prevent it?
So the biggest way is going for your regular deworming. So I always say I love smaller kids because we're always very OCD and making sure that they get dewormed every 6 months.
Yeah.
But as they get older then too, everyone kind of forgets and goes, oh, you know what. So I always say every 6 months, January, June school holidays, deworm, and don't just deworm the kids. We should be deworming. Deworm the pets. Deworm the whole family. It's simple dosing. It's very easy to take. The kids are not fighting it. And it's a very simple kind of thing to do.
Yeah. Look, it's a difficult one because, like we said, it's not something that is contracted and all of a sudden you know exactly what to do. So it's a long-term process, I think, that you need to look out for. But from your side, just a top tip in terms of going to the school holidays, making sure that the kids are healthy, what would you say as a doc?
So basic things, hand hygiene, hand washing.
Wash.
Okay, make sure you're washing those hands, making sure you're sanitizing those hands, but then make sure, especially when you're preparing food, wash that fruit, wash that food properly, and make sure you're cooking that food properly and making sure they're eating healthy meals.
None.
Simple as that. Just a bit of common sense, I think,
Yes.
goes a long way. And I love the fact that I think you hit a bit of a nerve with me there. Don't just focus on your young children. Kids throughout their cycle of life, just like the worm, will hit different gateways, but even us as adults need to be protected. I love that, Doc. Thank you so much. I think we've got the tools to use, or weapons, I'm going to say, in this battle. And VERMOX is available in a 500 milligram once-off crushable tablets containing mebendazole polymorph C. I probably said that completely incorrectly, but it still does the job, and that can be mixed or taken with water for the treatment of worm infestation. So as much as it feels like quite a complex issue, simple solution.
Absolutely. It's also suitable for children as young as 12 months. Easy to administer and suitable for the entire family. So go out there and look after your family. But I think it's a good point to say not only your family, but the pets as well. So say goodbye to those freeloaders and keep the family's digestive tract healthy this coming holidays, leaving no room for those unwanted guests, because they really are guests we don't want.
Yeah.